Hey, thanks everyone for joining me on this October 26th. It's a Thursday, and we're streaming live. And I know you're not used to me streaming on Thursday, but that's what we're doing now. We're going live every day, right? Every day, including today. We got a really good show for you coming up as soon as some people join us. But we're live on Rumble. We're live on YouTube. Let me double check, make sure that it's all up and happening. Let me do a refresh here. And it looks like are we good? Yeah, we're good. We're up and live. So, what the heck? I guess we'll just go ahead with it. Last night we did have a show. Called it a little too much for me right here. Last night we had a show, and my new show that I'm doing live at midnight on the East Coast is called Midnight Americano, and it's a little bit less centered on the news. Just kind of more of a comedy entertainment program. So please join me for that on midnight on the East Coast. But here we are live on the West Coast. This is just too much. Oh, please. There we go. Okay. So I guess we'll get to it. Maybe they didn't send out any notifications. Well, I guess that happens sometimes, but probably because it has to do with the topic that I'm going to talk about today. You know, perhaps that's the case. Well, today, folks, the topic is one that's equal parts infuriating and, dare I say, repetitive. We're diving headfirst into the media contagion surrounding mass shootings, and it's like trying to find humor in a horror movie, but you know me, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. You know the drill, right? In this area of 24/7 news, it's not just about informing us, it's about making the big bucks. The media moguls are all sitting up in their penthouses, cashing in on our collective morbid curiosity. It's like a Vegas jackpot. They're basically selling tickets to the dark circus. You see, mass shootings have become blockbuster movies of the news world. But who are the real stars of the show? The shooters. They get their 15 minutes, but more like 15 days of fame. We got the madman with the manifesto and the gunman in the shadows. Sounds like a box office hit, doesn't it? It's all a twisted, dysfunctional family. Mass shootings, the corporate media, and us, the audience. The shooters act, the media reports, and we, like Pavlov's dogs, tune in. Let's not forget the high ratings. They're like crack for the news networks. In this circus, journalism often takes a back seat. It's as if we've forgotten the fundamentals of reporting. You know, inform, educate, hold the power accountable. Instead, we've turned into a horror show with ad breaks. Yeah. So the next time you see breaking news alert and hear the ominous music, remember, there's dollar signs behind that. The media is peddling fear like it's a Black Friday sale. Let's be clear. It's not just the shooters. It's the big media corporations making it rain with tears of victims' families. It's about time we said enough is enough. We need to demand responsible reporting. We need to starve the shooters of the attention they crave. Let's focus on the heroes, not the anti-heroes. And in the end, we can't change this overnight. But we can start by demanding more from our media. We can hold them accountable for turning tragedy into a grotesque form of entertainment. And remember, it's not just about what the media feeds us. It's about what we choose to consume. As always, if you're watching this, congratulations. You've survived another mass shooting in America. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. So yeah, my goodness. Let's see if I can get this up. Mass shootings. We had another one last night. And yeah. Tragic, as always. Don't even think they've caught the shooter yet. So this is, there's going to be a lot of news about this. But I wanted to talk about, every time this happens, it tells me that as much as everyone likes to talk about following the science, right? How often have we heard follow the science? We hear that all the time. Got to follow the science. We are not following the science when it comes to dealing with mass shootings. You see, psychologists, psychiatrists, they've all studied this. They know what we should be doing and how we should be covering this so that it doesn't encourage copycats, so that it doesn't encourage more mass shootings. But we don't follow their advice, no. So here's some key points for responsible media coverage of mass shootings in a more concise form, okay? So, sensationalism, right? We need to avoid graphic and sensational content. Yeah, because that just drives troubled people. Troubled people see that. And, they might want to be a part of that. The media, they should focus on the victims of the shooting. They should focus on the heroes, the people that stopped it or that caught the person. That's where the focus of all the media coverage should be. Okay? We want to prioritize accuracy over speed. We want to be accurate and not just jump to conclusions. But that's, in the race when you're the media and you're just trying to get more and more attention, right? If you come up with facts that the other channels aren't covering, well, you're going to get more clicks, you're going to get more coverage, you're going to get more eyeballs, therefore, going to get more dollars. But that's what we need to do, is prioritize accuracy over speed. We need to use neutral language and avoid glorifying terms. That's really important. We hear a lot of glorifying terms around mass shootings. Also, we should try to avoid speculation. And I know if you are in the corporate media and you're covering this, and you got to fill time, the easiest way to fill time is just to speculate. But all the experts, all the scientists follow the science, right? They say that the corporate media should not be speculating. They should instead wait for confirmed details on it. They should be talking about broader issues and solutions. And lastly, encourage ethical reporting practices. And we just don't see that when it comes to these mass shootings by our corporate media. One of the things, there's a number of guidelines that they've come up with. One of them is that in a story, you should only mention the shooter's name one time. Only refer to them one time in the story and not throughout the rest of the story. That's what all the doctors say. That's what all the experts say. So if we're following the science and you see an article on CNN, on NBC, and they keep repeating the shooter's name over and over again, well, that's pretty much evidence that they're not following the science, and then that they are just trying to rile you up. Because fear is the greatest way to manipulate you. And if they can make you fearful, right, they can keep you tuned in. They can keep you clicking and reading more and watching more, consuming more commercials, making them more money. So that's one thing that you can look out for, is if they should only mention the shooter one time. Also, another recommendation is not go into a big biography of the shooter, because that's kind of glorifying their life, kind of going into who the person they are, doing these kind of biographies on the shooters. Well, all the experts, and I'm not saying always follow the experts, and in this case, maybe we should give it a try. But the experts say that if you do this, if you talk about the motivations of the person, what they were doing in their life, what they were doing in high school and in college and all this other kind of stuff, you're giving the shooter the attention that they crave so much. And inadvertently might be encouraging someone else to do this shooting as well. You know, I think back to, just think of the NFL. And back in the 70s, there was a thing where people would streak, right? They would take off their clothes and run across the field. And they made a decision that covering that, showing that on TV would just encourage more and more people to do it. So anytime someone ran on the field in sporting events, they will always turn the camera away. They won't show the person. Why? Because it discourages people from copying it. Now, if we can do that with football and baseball, why can't we do that with these shootings? Right? And the other thing is don't, lead with big pictures of the shooter. Don't concentrate on the shooter. By doing so, you're encouraging others in the same way that if there was a streaker and they followed the streaker and showed them on TV, right? It would just encourage more and more people to do that. And so keep that in mind when you see the coverage of this. You'll know whose team the media is on. The corporate media, if they are not following these guidelines, they are essentially encouraging more people to do it. Yeah, that's my take on that. That's my first thought today, but we do have a good show. We're going to get to a number of stories today. And the big one, right off the bat, we're going to talk about old Mikey J, the new guy in the house, new guy running the house. So let's get to that. So, House Republicans finally elected Mike Johnson as the new speaker. They had a bit of a speaker selection crisis, didn't they? It's like trying to pick a movie on Netflix. You keep scrolling and scrolling, and you end up watching nothing. Well, the Republicans scrolled and settled on Mike Johnson. So here's the story. Representative Mike Johnson, a vocal supporter of Donald Trump and key figure in raising issues about the election, has been elected as the new House Speaker following Kevin McCarthy's removal. Johnson's election ends a period of House paralysis with Republicans uniting around him. His immediate challenges involve government funding and, of course, aid to Ukraine and Israel. Yeah. So, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Anyway, last night on my show last night, that's right, if you didn't know, I'm doing a show at midnight on the East Coast. It's called Midnight Americano. Trying to do a bit more relaxed show. And on it last night, I did a top 12 list of things that the new speaker needs to know. But I'll be streaming live tonight, midnight, on the East Coast, right here on this channel. You can tune in, Midnight Americano. And if you you can just bookmark my channel, and it's easy to get to. Very easy to get to on Rumble. It's rumble.com/coffeeandnuance/live. If you just bookmark that, you can just click the bookmark, and you'll be able to find my show, whether you get a notification or not. Just know I go live at midnight tonight. But anyway, I talked a lot about Mike Johnson. Here's a guy that not a whole lot of people knew about. And I think the very interesting thing about this guy is he was someone that the more MAGA people could endorse, and the old neocons and the permanent Washington Republicans could get behind. So that makes me wonder, is this guy just weak? Is he just a weak guy that everyone can push around? I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot about him. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see if he does what he says he's going to do. I'm shocked that all of the Republicans came together to elect this guy. So, perhaps this guy's young. He's a young dude. He's younger than me. And, when something is fresh and you just start getting takes from other people and they start going through people's past, you just hear all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm going to let a couple days go by and be able to sift through it to figure out what I think of this guy. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. Honestly, I kind of liked how the country was operating more when we didn't have a Speaker of the House, because then we couldn't be spending all the money and destroying the U.S. dollar. But whatever. I'm sure they'll find a way to burn through a couple $100 billion here in the next week or two. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But next up, I do have a little bit of an update and the latest going on with everyone's favorite California governor. Yeah. Isn't it funny how Gavin Newsom's traveling to save the planet by visiting China? He's like, let's tackle climate change and human rights violations in one trip. I mean, talk about multitasking. It's like going to a bakery to lose weight. Yeah, I'll take a dozen climate agreements, please. Here's a story. California Governor Gavin Newsom met Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing to discuss climate cooperation. They emphasized the need for collaboration between the U.S. and China, two major carbon emitters. The meeting aimed to improve mutual understanding and address climate challenges. Newsom also met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, possibly setting the stage for a meeting between Xi and President Biden. The visit underscores the importance of state-level action on climate change, with California targeting carbon neutrality by 2045. I want to talk about carbon neutrality. This kind of falls in line with the old Green New Deal that Gavin Newsom and many people, many global organizations are pushing for. One of the things they talk about is zero emissions. Zero by like 2030. From, fossil fuels. Think about that. So 7 years from now, actually 6 and a couple months from now, the expectation is you wouldn't have a lawnmower. No, you wouldn't have an outdoor grill. That's all 100% renewable energy. That's the goal here. 100%, not 90%, 100%. No backyard barbecue. No lawnmower unless you have to plug it in. But good luck with that if you got a big yard, right? These goals just seem a bit obscene to me. Totally obscene to me. And Gavin Newsom is on the forefront of that. It makes me wonder who's these aren't his ideas, but who's pushing Gavin Newsom to really promote this stuff? Because I doubt they're American. Yeah, I doubt that. A lot of this climate agenda to me, appears a way to control people. And obviously, the rules don't apply, right? The rules don't apply to Gavin Newsom. He's not flying to China in an electric plane, right? But he can do that. He's flying on a jet plane to save the environment. They could very easily have this meeting with Xi Jinping over Zoom, right? That'd be easy enough. But no. Do as I say, not as I do. I get a lot of that. But it is interesting to see Newsom looking very presidential. In fact, they just keep having Gavin Newsom go out and do presidential-looking things. I made the prediction last spring that Gavin Newsom not only would be the next nominee for the Democrat Party, but he is going to be our next president. That was my prediction last spring. I did a video about that. I believe that I don't think I've seen anyone else predict it before I did. I think that was the first prediction that's been made in public that I could find, that he would be our next president. It appears to me that, like with this trip to meet with Xi Jinping, they're really setting him up to look presidential, and he can slide on in and replace Joe Biden. Because right now, when you look at all the polls, there's no way that they can pull off a win with Biden. In fact, Biden's doing so poorly in the polls now that it would just not even be believable if there were any funny business and they gave Biden the victory. It's just too much. It's too much of a stretch. And I don't think that they could pull off any shenanigans. Not that they've ever done that before, to be clear. But there'd be no chance of that. The country would just collapse into chaos. So I don't think that they're going to be able to. I don't think that Biden is going to make it to Election Day. I don't. I think it is going to be Gavin Newsom. And just more and more evidence of that meeting with the leader of China. I think that's more and more evidence of that. Anyway, well, now that we got a speaker, turns out they can start working on AI regulation. You know, folks, the White House is hosting an event on safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence. It's like they're trying to teach AI how to be safe as a politician's promise. But don't worry, it's all happening right before a big AI summit. I mean, they can make AI safe and secure. Maybe they can teach it to run for Congress. Yeah. So the White House is hosting an event to discuss AI safety and security with an executive order announcement expected. This event precedes Vice President Kamala Harris's travel to a UK AI summit. The Biden administration is making progress in regulating AI while facing opposition from industry groups. So they're big into this. They really have to regulate AI. Now I've messed around with AI a little bit. In fact, AI helped me make the little logo for the show that I did last night. You know, I made that with AI. Not the lettering, I did that in Photoshop, but the the little coffee cup and the stars and whatnot. I did that with AI, and I've messed around with the Chat GPT. And one thing that I've noticed is it is already compromised. It's already compromised. You ask it certain topics, and it will give you, let's just say, the result of what you would expect if it were written by the State Department. Yeah, already, as far as I can tell, the Chat GPT, I think 3.5, I don't pay for it, so I just use the free version. already it will not discuss controversial topics and will not allow you to even question some particular topics. And I'm not going to mention it now. I mean, my videos are hidden already enough. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the government regulating AI, because it kind of seems like everything the government gets involved with gets worse. That's what it seems like. It seems a pattern. You know, I'm good at recognizing patterns. Seems like everything they try to regulate just seems to get worse. That's the pattern that I notice. And it is interesting that they're not even going to try to put this through Congress. This is going to be an executive order, because we don't need the House of Representatives. We don't need the Senate, you know, to make our laws like the Constitution says. No. Joe Biden will sign it. And I'm sure he read it when he signs these executive actions. But anyway, I feel leery about it, but, you know, I can't do anything about it. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on AI regulation? Let me know in the comments. And again, once I get through my stories, I'll go through all of your comments in the after show. So stick around for that. But next up, I gotta admit, it's a story that I'm interested in. Probably not a whole lot of people are, but I keep pushing it. So, quick update. Yeah, more Argentina stuff. I'll be quick, though. You know, folks, I'm following this Argentine election drama, and it's like a telenovela for political nerds. Patricia Bullrich is endorsing Javier Milei. It's like watching a soap opera where the characters suddenly start supporting the villain, and you're left wondering, did I miss an episode, or is this just Argentine politics being its usual telenovela self? Yeah. So here's the story. Former Argentine presidential candidate Patricia Bullrich, she finished third in the recent election, and she had like 20%. Anyway, she's endorsed right-wing populist Javier Milei for the upcoming runoff. This caused a lot of tensions in the main center-right opposition coalition, with some supporting Milei and as a change agent, and others opposing his radical economic ideas. The Radical Civic Union (UCR) has said it won't support either candidate, and Bullrich's endorsement of Milei has raised the risk of a coalition fracture. Buenos Aires Mayor Horacio Rodriguez Larreta also disapproves of both candidates. That sounds familiar. Anyway, Milei is a libertarian economist who introduced a new political force, but his party remains a minority in Congress compared to the ruling party and the main opposition coalition. So yeah, this is just a little update on all the chaos in the presidential race down in Argentina. And the third place candidate has endorsed the radical populist who wants to do away with the Argentine peso, dollarize the country, and he wants to slash lots and lots of government stuff. I am very excited about this candidacy. I'm very excited about this race. That's why I bring it up a lot. I'm hoping to get you excited about this as well, because how crazy would that be? You know, a country of, I think, 24 million or something, to have a guy that says he wants to take a chainsaw to the government. I mean, you know, you think Trump was kind of radical, you know, and you know, we had Schwarzenegger and Jesse the Mind Ventura. You know, he was governor of Minnesota. Just kind of, you know, some candidates that were a little further out there, but this guy is really out there. And he's talking about doing away with the central bank. So we kind of know what happens to anyone that that brings that up. Right? Often they seem to, fall off buildings or get hit by cars, or say people like that tend to get into accidents, shall we say. But I think it's really exciting, and I just wanted to bring you the update. So if she, who got 20% of the vote, is endorsing him, it's looking like he's got a pretty strong case. I think the odds are really in his favor, but we'll find out in a couple weeks when they have their runoff election. Wouldn't it be cool if the United States had a runoff election? They say, okay, you got to get, like the way that works here, right? You got to get 270 in the electoral Congress, and if you don't, then it goes to the House, and then the House decides. That may happen this time. If, RFK Jr. gets a really good showing. Let's just say it's split 3 ways. It's going to be an exciting election. This next year is going to be so exciting in American politics. So I look forward to that. But some other news, this may affect you. So Americans are changing states for cheaper homes like they're playing a real-life game of Monopoly. I'll take a Florida property, please. But can I pay with Monopoly money? No. So here's the story. A growing number of Americans are looking to buy homes in different states, with over 25% of home buyers seeking to move to new metro areas in September. Housing prices have dropped slightly due to builder incentives and a shift towards smaller homes. However, the potential for rising mortgage rates and reduced home builder optimism may impact sales. Austin, Texas is losing its appeal due to soaring housing prices and a return to in-person work. Florida is the top destination for homeowners, with 5 of the top 10 metros in the state. The top 3 areas attracting home buyers from San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Sacramento, Las Vegas, and Orlando. So, what do you think? Are you thinking about moving? Because so many people are trying to move to cheaper markets. I, too, would like to move. I don't think I'll be moving anywhere for a couple years, but I could move. I would like to move somewhere else. And I look forward to when I can do that. And I'd like to go someplace a little cheaper. Portland, it's getting very expensive. It's getting very expensive. I feel priced out of so many things. Of course, that could be happening nationwide. So, yeah. What about you? Have you been thinking about moving elsewhere? Let me know in the comments. And, we need some good news. So let's end it with some good news. Wow, back already. Folks, I heard they named a rare Philippine spotted deer Hercules. Yeah, that little guy there, Hercules. They say it's because he's destined to carry the weight of the entire species on his spotted back. That's quite a burden for a little deer like that. Here's the story. A rare Philippine spotted deer was born in Chester Zoo in England in September, bringing joy to conservationists. The fawn, named Hercules, is part of a crucial breeding program established at the request of the Philippine government to save this highly endangered species. The tiny deer, weighing 4.4 pounds and standing 12 inches tall, is thriving with its parents in its new enclosure. The birth is significant as the Philippine spotted deer is critically endangered, with only a few hundred remaining in the wild due to hunting and deforestation. Conservation efforts, including reintroduction into protected reserves, have boosted their population, and Hercules' arrival is seen as a vital contribution to their survival. So that's some good news, right? That's some good news. We got Hercules being born in England. I've never even heard of a spotted deer. Have you? I've never heard of a spotted deer. So, and it's cute. And, with all the news today, it's tough. Sometimes you need just a little something to make you say, aw. I think that's healthy. That's healthy. And that's why I always end the show on some good news. Although it's tough to find good news. It really is. It really is. Probably because people don't search it out, right? If people really wanted good news, right, there would be probably someone getting really popular just putting out good news. No, we like we like the terror, right? And that goes back to my main point about the monologue about how mass shootings are covered. Anyway, those are the stories that I have for you today. My goodness. I will go through all of your comments in the after show. And as a reminder, tonight, midnight on the East Coast, Midnight Americano, my new show, where I go through kind of the news of the day, give some jokes, about a dozen jokes. I like to go with a dozen because it's at 12 a.m. Get it? And I'm kind of a literal guy. So on Monologue, I try to make about 12 jokes, and I have a top 12 list because it's 12 a.m. I haven't picked a topic yet. In fact, I don't know what I'm going to do for the show tonight, but I'll figure it out. But I hope you can join me over there. And if not, watch a replay. So that's cool. But yeah, I'll be back at midnight, and I will be back mañana, tomorrow, Friday. Fact Check Friday, right here at noon on the West Coast. So I hope to see you then. Until then, peace. Well, let's go through the chat, shall we? Hope you all are doing well. It's a drag to see no chat over there on Rumble. What's up, Rumble? Why can't we get some chat going? We do have a number of people watching live right now on Rumble, and you could help me out. Hit the like button. Go ahead, it doesn't cost you anything. And it's nice. It's like a little back rub for Tom. Make me feel good, right? We all need some validation, right? And that's some validation. If you're not gonna leave a comment, which I wish you would, just hit the like button. That would be cool. But anyway, let's go through the chat. Apothecary John checking in. What's up? Good to see you. You must have amended your schedule. I thought we stopped doing Thursdays. Yeah, I did stop doing Thursdays, but like I said, I've been invited to be part of this Rumble small creator program, partnership program, and they want me to stream 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. So I'm gonna be back to doing this show Monday to Friday at noon on the West Coast. And then I have my new show that I'm doing midnight on the East Coast, Monday to Friday. Although I may have to do an extra show this weekend because I got the email late and I want to make sure I get all the required shows in. They want me to do 5 2 hours of streaming 5 days a week. So that's why I'm doing the new show. And who knows, maybe it turns out people like the new show more than this show. Maybe one of the shows takes off. Maybe I get more subscribers. Who knows? This whole thing is an experiment. It's only going to be a month, but this whole thing is an experiment, and I like experiments. In fact, I think we should all be experimenting. We turn around and another year goes by, and you know, like today could be your birthday. So happy birthday. It's your birthday today. And you're like, whoa, where did the year go? Where did it go? And so that's one thing that we can do is we can experiment with different things. Think of something that you want to do. Try it out for a month. Try it out for 30 days. There was a Morgan Spurlock show. He was the guy that did Super Size Me and a couple other things. But he had a show called, I think it was called 30 Days, in which he would try something new for 30 days just to see what it was like. I remember one of the episodes, he had no money, and he just said, oh, well, can I make it in 30 days? And he, would get a job, get paid cash, got an apartment, and you saw what he did trying to survive like with no money for 30 days. But he did lots of different things for 30 days. And I think that that's something that we can all do. It's only 30 days. You can handle it. So is there something that you've been thinking about? Oh, maybe I'll try that. I've been talking about doing this late night show for a long time. In fact, when the writers' strike happened earlier this spring, and I think in the spring of this year, I thought, oh, I should do a late night show. I like writing jokes. Maybe I can do some kind of late night show. And I just didn't do it. I just didn't do it, and I didn't do it. And fortunately, they picked me for this program on Rumble. So I said, you know what? Okay, I'll give it a shot. I will do this for 30 days, and I'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe I won't, but it's only 30 days. So yeah, I'm going to give that a shot. Yes, we need a repeat of the schedule. I wasn't paying close enough attention yesterday. Treat me like a kindergartner. Repeat schedule changes about 5 times. Yeah, I should probably have some graphics for that. There's a lot I need to do, including having like nude graphics, and the graphic at the end of the show is the same, and my bumpers have been the same for a year. There's a lot I need to do. I know. But yes, having the schedule up on the screen, thank you for that suggestion, and I will try to put together some kind of bumper that will have the schedule on the screen. So thank you. That's something that I can work on. The Daily Wire won't even mention the shooter's name one time. No fame coming from the Daily Wire. I think that that is a good way to go. Now, I'm not saying that you can't like not ever say the shooter's name. I think that it is newsworthy to mention who the shooter is. Okay? It's just, they should not be glorified. They should not be celebrated. They should not get that fame that they seek. So I wouldn't want any laws against it. Another thing is, talking about like a manifesto, right? I don't think you should concentrate and promote a shooter's manifesto. However, that doesn't mean that the manifesto has to be secret. I think that it can be released to the public. I think that there could be valuable things that some could learn in it. But I don't think that that's the kind of thing that needs to be broadcast on corporate news, endlessly drawing all kinds of attention to it. So there's a difference there. What exactly is an Americano, Tom? I was too lazy to research it. An Americano is coffee. And typically, I don't drink drip coffee. I pretty much just drink Americanos. So what an Americano is it's espresso and hot water. Okay? So, now, if it's just an espresso, to me, that's a little bit too much, and I like the volume. So, like in this, I would have, let's say, 2 shots of espresso, and then I would fill it with hot water, and it just kind of mixes up. And that's how I drink my coffee. It's a coffee drink. Espresso is a coffee drink. Now, if you had an Americano, right, and you were to put, milk in it or cream in it or whatever, whipped steamed milk, right? Then that would be a latte, right? So you got espresso, steamed milk, that would be a latte. Espresso, hot water, that would be an Americano. And I don't know, I called it midnight. It's very difficult to brand in 2023. It's so hard to come up with branding, to come up with something that's not being used. And it was really, I was like, oh, late night coffee, there's all kinds of things that I could name it. And, you search and someone made a Twitter account for it 10 years ago with that same brand, or someone made a YouTube channel and they've got 2 videos on it and they haven't logged in 8 years, but it's still already taken. And so I just wanted to come up with a brand that has not been used. And I found, I drink Americanos, and, kind of in reference to my last name, right? Coffee, Tom Coffee, Americano, you get the tie-in. And midnight, because that just turns out to be a good time for me to do a nightly show, which is 9 p.m. on the West Coast. I don't think I could really go later than that on the West Coast, because I need to. I'm usually in bed by midnight myself, and so that's kind of the time that would work for me, and it would allow me enough time to actually write a show. So that's how I came up with the name for that. Yeah, but it's somehow different. Yeah, so. Brewed coffee, right? You have all the coffee and you pour the hot water through it and it brews it that way. And so everything that you're drinking in a brewed cup of coffee has been through the grains. And the difference is Americano is you make an espresso, and I make an espresso with my AeroPress, right? So it's just you put the coffee grinds in the AeroPress, hot water in, wait 10 seconds, and you have a plunger that you push the hot water through the grounds. And that makes an espresso, and then you add water to it, makes an Americano. If you aren't using the Brave search engine, you're just getting the Americano recipes the regime wants you to see. Oh, True Meeps. I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I just actually a couple weeks ago, the Brave browser was brought up in the comments, and I'd forgotten about the Brave browser. I've installed the Brave browser, and now when I show you my screen, I'm actually using the Brave browser for that. And I think it's a really, really good browser. They do a lot of things like blocking certain things that may pop up. They're really good at that. So you may look into that. Let's see. Natasha says, AI hasn't gone woke. It was conceived and birthed in the sea of wokeness. Yeah, I'm not sure who conceived the AI, but it's definitely been infected. I really got to tell you. Natasha says, never trust Google, not even for recipes, although I'm eating unusual things from my yard based on Google research. So far, it hasn't killed me. Okay. Oh, Tom might get in an accident now. Look, I'm not preaching for the end of central banks, but I'd probably pop some champagne if that were to happen. Austin is number 1 on the list to become a smart city, at least according to the most recent Highwire episode. Okay. I've been thinking about moving to Tennessee. Just showing up on Lucid Sports. There you go. Experiments are fun. My last marriage was an interesting experiment. Well, there you go. See? Now, I don't know if it was only 30 days, but I think 30 days is a good experiment that you can do. In fact, if I were to challenge anyone to an experiment, what I am doing is I have stopped eating anything that's in a box. I don't get a single thing that's in a box. So any of that manufactured, food that comes in a box. No longer. My pantry is free of all boxes of food, and I think it's made a difference for me. No processed foods for me. That would be an experiment that I could challenge you to do. Try going processed food free for a month and tell me how you feel. So there we go. It says, I like to experiment that Dr. Sten Ekberg does, like eating a bunch of hamburgers or eggs or olive oil to see what it does to his body. He does before and after blood work, very scientific. Ekberg, okay. Well, I wish I could get like free blood testing on things. I'd probably do experiments like that. If I could get someone to pay for all those blood tests, that would be kind of cool to do. But yeah, that would be, I think that'd be really interesting thing to do. Do you have access to all of your tests from your doctor? So I didn't realize this until recently. I use Providence. I don't know if Providence is a national, or not. It's here in Oregon. And they have something called My Chart, and I think My Chart is for lots of different healthcare providers. But I can go on there and I can look at all my test results over the years that they've collected. So I can go and sign in and check in, and I can see my weight like over the past decade, like, every time I've checked in and the nurse has done, just the blood pressure check and all of these things. But I've also had, every year I get all my blood work done, get my testosterone checked, get, checked for diabetes and cholesterol and all that kind of stuff. And it's all there for me to look at now. I can just hop on my MacBook Pro and log in, and it's all the historical information is there. It's very helpful just to see how things change over time. Have you ever tried something like that? Because I think it's a very valuable tool to have. Often in the past, we didn't even consider that, but now we can actually track these things. I can track, so many metrics over the years, and you can see, oh, okay, yeah, my blood pressure is actually going up a little bit, or my cholesterol is higher than it was 2 years ago. What have I changed? What can I do differently? So I think more information, and make the information easy to get to, is a really good thing. So check out to see if your healthcare provider can give you those kinds of details, because I think it's been very beneficial for myself. So, yeah. Let's see. Alan Dura says, I'm censored. Well, I'm not sure what are you censored in the chat? Because that is, right? That's Google doing the censoring there. I don't do any censoring on my chat. So if you type something into chat and it doesn't appear, they have some AI, they have some algorithms that are going through looking for certain words, and they're taking that out. But I don't censor any chat. I know that one of the things in the live chat, I don't think that you can put in links, external links in the live chat. I don't think so. That might be one thing. But I would be interested to know what is being censored. So if you're being censored on a particular platform, try doing the same comment on, say, Rumble, and see if the comment shows up. And that would be a good thing for all of us to know, because I don't know what's being censored, and I don't think a lot of people know what's being censored. So if you are, post it in Rumble so we can all see what was the message that was too naughty for the YouTube censors. That would be a good thing to know. So, yeah, Alan Durrell says, and I got to work on my pronunciation with that. Guess I'll start commenting about the WEF from Rumble from now on. Oh, something about the WEF, the World Economic Forum. You know, I plan on kind of learning more about the World Economic Forum. It seems to be that it's becoming more and more relevant, and more people are interested in what they're doing because we can see what kind of power they are exerting out there. So that's something that I want to work on for future stories. Gonzo the Good hit me up with a 5-spot. Thank you, Gonzo. I appreciate you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. In fact, can I heart that? Yeah. There we go. Cholesterol is not the big deal it was made out to be. Do more research there, especially if you were taking statins. They're next to worthless. Well, I'm not taking anything right now, and I'm not giving any medical advice for anyone. But what I am saying is, if you can look historically at your numbers and look at the chart and look at the trend, then if you see a trend that you're trending in one direction or the other, then you can address it if it needs to be addressed. That's all I'm saying. Just saw your Midnight Americano. I'll have to watch it the following day. Unfortunately, I can't watch it live. I understand. I don't think that I'd have a hard time watching something live at that time as well. But I had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun doing it. It was shockingly a lot of work to come up with the brand new show in a day. Yeah, you try that. But we made it through it, and we made it the desired time, so that was good. Yeah, and I have no idea what the topics are going to be tonight, but I'll figure that out this afternoon. It was really great. It's fun to watch more of your videos. Well, thank you, Gonzo. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, statins, not stations. Yeah, statins. It's funny. I still don't really know what statins are, but I've heard the term before. Okay, over on Rumble. Yeah, here we go. We got it. Alanduril. Try number 4. Global warming increased during lockdown. Anyway, it's all about control. Maybe WEF controls everything. Most prominent politicians are somehow part of the WEF or connected. And Rev68 gave an American flag. Thank you for that. It was a great stream. Thanks, Apothecary John. Look forward to tonight. It's good. I'll see you there tonight. Yes, global warming is very interesting, and I want to get into that more. I do think a lot of it is about control, and if that was your message and it did not show up over on the YT, that's very interesting. That is very interesting. One thing that I will say to keep in mind, they try to connect everyone to the WEF, and one thing that they tend to do is when someone is rising in popularity, they will give them some kind of award or something like that. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you're in cahoots with the WEF if they gave you an award or if they recognized you. You know, when people are coming up and they start getting accolades and awards and things like that, who doesn't like an award, right? And then it's only years later they find out about what the WEF really does, and they're like, oh, well, I'm not associated with this organization at all. They just happen to give me an award. So don't let that kind of guilty by association thing happen. Look at what the people actually say about the WEF, because they do try to tar people with that association quite a bit. And you just need to be careful of that. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on this awesome Coffee and Nuance stream. I had a really good time. I will be back tonight, midnight on the East Coast, and I will be back tomorrow with a Fact Check Friday, tomorrow, noon on the West Coast, right here. So, see you then. Peace.